revision video. We're going to do 2 of these revision videos, answering some questions as we go for practice, and then we're going to do a bit of a quiz just to kind of finish things off and check how you've been getting on with this plant module. So today we're going to cover plant tissues, organs and systems. We're going to start off with tissues. So like animals, plants are organised into different tissues. Those tissues are made up of similar cells and they carry out a particular function. So you guys have to know from smallest to largest, what's the smallest thing within any organism and what is the largest thing within any organism. So the smallest thing we have got is the cell. For example, in a plant is a palisade cell. Okay, the next step up, so lots of cells will come together and they will make a tissue. So for example, palisade cells come together to make palisade mesophyll tissue. These tissues will come together to make an organ. So lots of different types of tissues within a plant will come together to make the leaf. This organ will join up with other organs to make an organ system. Okay, so the root system has the leaf organ in it. It also has the stem, also has the roots, etc. And then these different types of organ systems will come together to make the organism, such as the oak tree. So you guys have to know particular tissues within a plant. So we're going to have a look at some of the important tissues. So the epidermal tissue, this covers the surface of the plant. We've got the palisade mesophyll, which you spoke about earlier. Those cells are packed with chloroplasts, okay, so for photosynthesis, and so they must be on the top of the leaf, and they, as it says, they're used for photosynthesis. We also have the spongy mesophyll. So photosynthesis can occur in the cells in here, and they've got large air spaces to allow gas exchange. So obviously they want that carbon dioxide to use for photosynthesis. Their waste gas is oxygen, which we need to be able to exchange those two gases. The xylem and phloem are another example of tissues. They are vascular bundles, so almost like your veins, but they run through the plant and they transport water. They transport glucose around the plant. Meristem, that is found at the tips of the roots and the shoots, and it's where cell differentiation occurs, so changing those cells or specialising those cells into what they need to be. Okay, so here is a drawing of a leaf. Okay, so if you cut a leaf down through it, these, if you had a microscope, are all the different cells and tissues that you would see. You have to be able to label these cells and tissues within a leaf. Okay, so we can see at the top we've got our cuticle, so that's our waxy layer. If we're looking, going down the left hand side, so we've got cuticle, then we've got our upper epidermis cells, then we've got our palisade and our spongy cells. They are palisade mesophyll and spongy mesophyll. They're tissues made up of the individual cells. We've then got our lower epidermis at the bottom and our cuticle. Underneath, we've got our guard cell and our stomata, or our stoma, allowing the gas exchange. And over on the right, we've got all the different, for the palisade cell is labelled all the different organelles within that individual cell. So chloroplast, vacuole, nucleus, cell wall, cytoplasm. Okay, well obviously there are a few more that other plant cells might have as well. So I would sketch out this drawing of a leaf or cell structure of the leaf to make sure that you know and you've got all the correct, you could label it basically. So if an exam question came up, you'd be able to label all the different cells and tissues within that. So we're going to have a look at our kind of organ system then. So roots, stem and leaves form a plant organ system for transportation. Okay, specifically, there's a lovely picture of it. Most leaves have guard cells on their lower epidermis. Those cells will open up and close depending on the water content of those cells. And the stoma open and close obviously with the guard cells, and that allows gas exchange or gases to diffuse, okay, so move in and out, and that can help control water loss. So if there's a lack of water in the guard cells, they go flaccid and they close. This prevents the water vapour from leaving through the stomata. Okay, so there's a picture of our stomata open and the stomata closed, and that's depending on the amount of water in the guard cells. Okay, so these are two very specialised cells. We've also got the root hair cell. Okay, so that's a picture of the root hair cell that's sticking out of the root. Okay, root hair cells, they are hair-like projections. That's the wording they will use in your exam. Hair-like projections to increase the surface area. Okay, so that is their main job. That's how they're specialised. They've got a surface area much bigger than most other cells, and that allows them to take up water and minerals better. So finally, we're going to have a look at transpiration and translocation. Okay, so transpiration, we have xylem tissues transporting the water and mineral ions from the roots all the way up through the stems and to the leaves. The xylem is composed of hollow tubes. Okay, they're adapted for transport of water in the transpiration stream. Okay, and here's a picture of our xylem here. Now remember, the xylem only allows water to move in one direction, so up the plants from the roots to the leaves. Water and minerals, and we've got very tough walls there as well to make sure that the water doesn't escape, etc. So we had a look at the rate of transpiration, okay, and it is increased as the temperature, humidity and air movement and light intensity increase. So I will increase the rate of transpiration as the temperature goes up, then I'm going to have more transpiration, so more water movement. As the humidity, okay, so in more humid environments, plants are going to need more water. Air velocity, so if it's windy outside, and light intensity, so if it's really sunny, then there is going to be more transpiration, more movement of water into the leaves, because they are losing water because of these reasons. So because it's hot, the water is evaporating from the surface of the leaves, so they need more water from the roots. Okay, so that's transpiration. Then we've got translocation. So this is the phloem that transports dissolved sugars from the leaves. Okay, because remember, photosynthesis is creating glucose. That's our dissolved sugars from the leaves to the rest of the plant for immediate use or for storage. The phloem is composed of tubes of elongated cells with pores in the end walls. So here's a picture of our phloem. We've got a glucose solution, obviously able to go in both ways, and cells have end plates with holes in to allow that kind of movement between the individual cells. Okay, and then cell sap can also move from one phloem cell to the next through the pores in the end walls. Okay, so that's the important bit. It's able to move between the cells. So I'm now going to give you a range of questions for you to try based on that. Go back through, take some notes if you'd like to, or use this video to help you answer the questions.